It starts quietly. No one notices at first. You're 7 years old, standing in the kitchen at midnight. Your mother is crying again. Or maybe she's not crying. Maybe she's just staring at the wall with that look, that hollow, faraway look that means she's drowning and you're the only one who can see it. Your father isn't there. He's never there. Or he is there, but he's the reason she's crying. And without anyone saying a word, something ancient clicks in your small mind. A knowing that shouldn't exist yet. A weight that children aren't supposed to carry. You walk over. You put your hand on her shoulder. You say something, anything, to make her feel better. And it works. She looks at you. She smiles. She says, "What would I do without you?" And in that moment, you learn the most dangerous lesson a child can learn. If I don't hold everything together, no one will. People often assume that children who grow up too fast become strong, resilient, capable adults. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes they do. But what nobody talks about is the cost, the hidden price of being the adult when you were supposed to be the child. Because here's what happens when a 7-year-old becomes a therapist, a mediator, a parent to their own parents. They stop being 7. They skip over something essential, something they'll spend the rest of their life trying to find. Maybe it started with addiction. Your parents' eyes glazed over, their words slurred, and you learned to navigate their moods like a minefield. You became hyper-vigilant, reading the room, predicting explosions, making yourself small and helpful and invisible all at once. Or maybe it was mental illness. Your mother's depression. Your father's rage. The unpredictability that forced you to become the stable one. The calm one. The one who never cried because someone had to keep it together. Or maybe it was just poverty. Not enough money. Not enough food. Not enough safety. And you, even as a child, felt responsible. You stopped asking for things. You learned to take care of yourself. You became self-sufficient before you even understood what that word meant. Psychologists call this parentification. It's when a child is forced to take on adult responsibilities, emotional or practical, that they're not developmentally ready for. And it doesn't just steal childhood. It rewires the brain. Because when you spend your formative years in survival mode, your nervous system gets stuck there. You become an adult who can't relax, who can't play, who can't let anyone else take care of you because you learned, viscerally, that no one will. So you grew up, and everyone said you were mature for your age, responsible, wise beyond your years. They said it like it was a compliment, but you knew the truth. You weren't wise. You were tired. You weren't mature. You were just mimicking what you thought adults were supposed to be. And deep down, you were still that 7-year-old, standing in the kitchen, terrified that if you stopped holding everything together, the whole world would collapse. Here's what that looks like in adulthood. You become someone who can't ask for help, even when you're drowning, even when you desperately need it. Because asking for help feels like admitting you're not enough. And you've built your entire identity on being enough, on being the one who doesn't need anyone, the one who has it all figured out. You become hyper-independent. People call it strength, but it doesn't feel like strength. It feels like a cage. Because you want connection. You crave it, but you don't know how to let people in without feeling like you're burdening them. So you stay on the surface. You help everyone else. You listen. But you never let anyone see that you're struggling too. You become the fixer, the problem solver, the person everyone turns to in a crisis. And it feels good in a way. Familiar, safe. Because being needed is the closest thing to being loved that you know. But it's exhausting. Because you're not just carrying your own weight, you're carrying everyone else's too. And no one ever asks, "Are you okay?" And here's the hidden cost. You don't know how to rest. You don't know how to just be. Because rest feels dangerous. Stillness feels like negligence. If you're not doing something, solving something, fixing something, then what are you even for? Your worth is tied to your usefulness, and if you stop being useful, you stop mattering. But here's what's fascinating. Children who grow up too fast often become extraordinary adults, not in spite of what happened, but because of it. They develop emotional intelligence that most people never reach. They can read a room in seconds. They know what people need before people know it themselves. They're compassionate, empathetic, deeply attuned to suffering because they've lived it. They're also incredibly resilient. They've survived things that would break most people, and they did it when they were too young to even understand what they were surviving. That's not weakness, that's strength, real strength, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. And yet, there's a loneliness in it, because when you grow up too fast, you miss something essential. You miss the permission to be messy, to be needy, to be vulnerable. You miss the experience of being held, protected, allowed to fall apart because someone else will catch you. And that absence, that fundamental lack of safety, it follows you. It shows up in your relationships, in your work, in the way you can give endlessly but can't receive, in the way you can love everyone except yourself. So, what happens when you finally stop running? When you finally sit down and realize that you've been holding your breath for 20, 30, 40 years? When you finally ask the question you've been too afraid to ask, what did I lose? You lost your childhood. Not just the years, but the feeling, the lightness, the belief that the world is safe and someone else is in charge. You lost the ability to play without purpose, to laugh without worry, to exist without needing to earn it. You lost trust. Trust that people will show up. Trust that you're allowed to need things. Trust that love isn't conditional on how much you give. And maybe most painful of all, you lost the belief that you're allowed to be cared for. Because somewhere deep in your child mind, you learned that your needs didn't matter. That other people's needs came first. That your job was to make everything okay for everyone else, and your own pain was just the price you paid. The first step to healing isn't fixing. It's witnessing. It's saying out loud, maybe for the first time, I was a child, and I should have been allowed to be one. It's acknowledging that what happened wasn't your fault. You didn't choose to grow up too fast. It was done to you, and you survived it the only way you could, by becoming who you needed to become, by sacrificing parts of yourself to keep everyone else afloat. But you don't have to do that anymore. One of the most powerful things you can do is ask your inner child, what did you need back then that you never got? And listen, really listen. Maybe you needed someone to tell you it wasn't your fault. Maybe you needed someone to hold you and say, you can rest now. I've got this. Maybe you needed permission to cry, to rage, to fall apart without having to put yourself back together. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to give those things to yourself. You start saying no, not because you're being selfish, but because you're learning that your needs matter too. That you don't have to earn love by being useful. That people who truly care about you will stay even when you're not fixing their problems. You start letting people help you. Not because you can't do it yourself. You've proven 1,000 times that you can, but because you're learning that connection isn't about independence. It's about interdependence. It's about letting someone see you struggle and choosing to stay anyway. You start resting. Really resting. Not just sleeping, but letting go. Letting the world keep turning without your hands on the wheel. And it's terrifying at first. Because what if everything falls apart? But here's what you discover. It doesn't. The world keeps spinning. People keep living. You finally get to exhale. Carl Jung talked about the wounded healer. The person who, because they've been broken, knows how to help others heal. And maybe that's you. Maybe your childhood wasn't wasted. Maybe it gave you something profound. A depth of empathy. A capacity for compassion. Knowing that most people will never reach. But here's the paradox. You can't heal others if you don't heal yourself. And healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean pretending it wasn't that bad. It means honoring the child you were, the one who carried so much, the one who never got to just be a kid, and saying, you did enough. You were enough. And now you get to rest. So, if you're someone who grew up too fast, know this. You're not broken. You're not too much or too little or too anything. You're someone who survived, who adapted, who became who you needed to become to make it through. And that took incredible strength. But you don't have to be strong anymore. Not in that way. Not in the way that means carrying everything alone. You're allowed to put it down now. You're allowed to be messy, uncertain, vulnerable. You're allowed to need people. To ask for help. To admit that you don't have it all figured out. You never had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to write it. Not as the caretaker, the fixer, the one who holds everything together, but as yourself. Messy. Human. Worthy of care. You've been taking care of everyone else your whole life. Now it's your turn. And you don't have to do it alone.